iPhone 16 Pro Max and the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra are better than any foldable out there. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and today I'm going to talk about why I think these standard flagship slab style smartphones, the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, beat pretty much any foldable that has come out for me. Now, the foldable smartphones I have used in the past is every single Z Fold that's been out. I've purchased every one of them. We're waiting on the pre-order for the Z Fold 7, which I discussed in the prior video. This is the 6. This is the OnePlus Open Apex Edition, 16 gigs of RAM. This has been my favorite foldable ever yet. Now, I am looking forward to seeing what we get with the Z Fold 7. I'll cover that later. But I keep coming to the same conclusion every year, and I've actually already used the Z Fold 7 in person. I just haven't got my order, so I'm not covering it till it gets here. And I gotta say that it's probably going to be the same thing once again. I'm probably going to return to the slab beasts once again. Let me explain why I feel this way and why every year, even though I do cover these folds, I tend to come back to these phones. Number one is the price to power ratio. You usually get better thermals, the best overall performance, the highest software performance usually, because they usually focus on updating these phones faster. They're just the gold standard. That's just the bottom line. And you don't gotta pay, $16.99 to like over $2,000 depending on which foldable you go with. They're just price to power ratio is phenomenal. And then with the vapor chamber and something like the Galaxy S25 Ultra, we're also looking at fantastic performance on the day-to-day. This thing flies. Actually, I've been using this a little bit more than my 16 Pro Max just due to its faster and fluid feel day-to-day. So I've been really enjoying the animation speed, the raw performance of the S25 Ultra. Now, number two is that you always have your largest screen right at your hand tip, like right here. So once you grab it, you're already into the biggest screen. Now, that is being improved with the Z Fold 7, as well as, other foldables out there. They're all going towards that bigger front display. OnePlus was one of the first to do that with the bigger screen on the front, but these displays are still not the biggest displays, so you still have to go inside to get to your largest overall panels on these foldable phones. Same with the Z Fold 7. I've seen it and held it and used it already. It is definitely kind of like the OnePlus Open over there, just a little bit bigger on the front and thinner. It's a thinner phone, but at the same time, you're just always ready to go with these displays right here. They're just the largest ones, front and center. And while the inner displays are bigger, they come at a sacrifice, usually with more of an awkward hold, just because you have to use them two hands. You can still kind of grip these phones sometimes with one hand if you have a large hand, but usually you're going to be holding it like this or like this. And it's not always the most fun to walk around one-handed. So you kind of still strike a better balance between having one hand but still a large screen on these slab styles. Mostly typing though, a lot of people will have to go to two hands even with these bigger smartphones. And I'm not aiming just at book foldables in this video. I am talking also about flipping phones. Those are going to give you even smaller screens on the front. And those flip style phones, whether it's Razer, whether it's Z Flip, it doesn't matter. They all feel they're going to be much more smaller, and they are useful on the front, but it's really going to be depending on how you use the phone. If you want it closed and don't use it a lot, those will be better. But for power users, for people who are using their phones heavy, these slab styles are usually, to me, the way to go. They're just like all the power right there in your hand. They're just very simple and durable. So I do quite like that. Now, when it comes to the foldable phones, especially I like the multitasking abilities on OnePlus foldables, but the multitasking abilities are also great on the Z series. I still find myself, after doing a few days of multitasking, I don't know why, but I'm just thinking like, wait a minute, my brain goes, why are you doing this on this size screen when you could just go to your laptop or your tablet? And that's not an excuse. These are still super powerful travel companions. So if you are on the go, these are definitely worth checking out if you want to do multitasking on the go. But at the same time, I find myself finding like it's just going to be better experience to just do the work on a tablet like my S10 Ultra, or on my MacBook Pro or my Galaxy Book, something like that. I just find that I'm just still kind of using it like a phone, just more spread out. So yeah, the large screens here are just very simple, durable, and ready to go. And things like the S25 Ultra still support split screen multitasking and all the goodness, while still being a little bit more portable. Well, I wouldn't say portable, because the Z series is pretty portable now. But definitely just front and center, ready to go. Number 3 is going to be the display aspect ratios. Now, with these folding phones, I'm talking about the book styles now, they tend to have bigger black bars when you are, watching content. So if I was to pull up a show or something right here, it would definitely show, just in my Z series, it would show some black bars on the top and on the bottom, and that's not a horrible thing. It's just that, you kind of don't even fill up the full screen unless you pinch the zoom, but then it cuts off a lot of the content. So the aspect ratios on the inner displays are something that these companies could work on. And so now I'm in the video, and yes, it looks like a beautiful, expansive video, but let me go ahead and show you something really quickly here. Now, the video is actually in frame on both on this foldable here, and then over here on this phone. And you could see, once I pinch in on the S25 Ultra, you'll see that it's nearly like the same thing right in there. So you're just kind of holding more screen, but not really getting much more content over a large phone like that. It's a little bit bigger, but it's not like substantial. Once you pinch in right there, you're just basically ruining the experience, because you're cutting off half the ocean right there. So for me, this is a little bit of a problem, but definitely if they wanted to go to this, they would have to make the phones taller. So this aspect I don't like about the folding phone. Where it really tends to shine is just having the 2 apps side by side, triple apps. This is where it really shines, because you get like these big multitasking windows. That's where foldables really supersede, the standard flagships. Multitasking. That is where they're kings over these slab style phones, and pretty much all of them are pretty much king over the iPhone, because the iPhone is staying at a single app at a time, not allowing you to basically leave. You got to leave every time to come back into an application over here. So definitely the slabs do a bit better with daily tasks, but the foldables, they kind of need a little bit more of less of a letterboxing, or I think it's called that, the black bars on the top. And so the next one is the cameras. The cameras, first of all, on the 16 Pro Max are some of the best out there, as are the Galaxy S25 Ultra. But the camera systems on these phones are always top tier. And while the OnePlus Open did a really decent job there, the Z series is getting better with the 200 megapixel on the newer phone that arrives to your doorstep next week. You're always going to get more zoom, and you're always going to get the better cameras on the Ultra. That's its selling point. And for me, that's very important, because I've a long time ago replaced my cameras as my main shooting device on the phone. So my main camera is usually the phone, and it's always the one you have with you. So having this level of performance on the camera is crucial, especially considering that for the foldables, I'm going to pay probably somewhere around $2,000. So I definitely think I should get all the best cameras at that price, because that is substantially more than the $1,100 or so I pay for these. It's like twice the price. So I should get just as good a camera, if not better cameras, actually. All right, and then durability and simplicity. Now, you can watch some durability videos on some of these folding devices, and of course, they're not gonna like break or nothing like that. It's not that. It's more like, I don't want to drop this thing. Like, I don't want this inner part getting damaged, because if this inner part gets damaged, then it's going to be way more costly to repair than these phones right here. But however, these foldable phones have been engineered and tested to withstand daily life. So I'm not sitting over here saying that they're not durable. I give them their props. They don't just engineer these phones to fall apart. It's not like that. Prop a case on them, they should be fine with a couple of drops. but still, there's just, my heart sinks a little bit more when I drop a $2,000 foldable than when I drop one of these sturdy, durable glass slab of titanium phones. I don't know. They just feel like a little bit less scary when you drop them. Let's just put it that way. On that topic, on that one, let me know your thoughts on that. Another thing is case makers make substantially more cases for these phones right here, these slab styles. So you'll find way more cases. From cheap budget cases to high-end screen protectors, to low-end screen protectors, to regular stores probably in your area. You don't even have to go online. You could just walk into a Best Buy, or you could walk into a Target, or you could just walk into a regular store. You're probably going to find cases for these two. Good luck finding them on the foldables. So that's definitely where these tend to still shine. Now, software updates and consistency. Now, of course, Apple is likely going to bring a foldable in the future, and they'll probably keep their software just as updated because of the way iOS is tightly controlled. But I find that, especially on the Samsung side, I usually get my updates first on the Ultra phone, followed by the Z Fold later. Same with the Flip. Those phones get it like a couple weeks later for me sometimes. So I tend to like the Samsung side when it comes to updates on the Ultra line. They always get the updates first. Same thing for the A series or budget line of phones. Those also tend to get them later. But these are better than foldable phones when it comes to updates. OnePlus also updates their 13 and their flagship phones faster than the OnePlus Open. So these feel kind of like side projects sometimes when it comes to updates. Like, they didn't forget about them, but they're not like top of mind compared to like these right here. These always feel like this is what they're mostly supporting, the top. Like, maybe because it's got the biggest customer base, but this is where it's at if you want your frequent, fast updates pretty much regularly all the time. Another thing is repair costs. Now, to repair something like the Galaxy S25 Ultra is not going to be cheap, but it's going to be more on something like a Z Fold. It's engineered much more different than the more simple engineering of these slab style phones. And none of these phones are simple. I mean, these are all technological marvels, but at the same time, these devices have hinges and different parts inside. So if you mess these up, which is not likely, these devices are incredibly durable these days. But if you do substantially break one or something goes wrong, look out, because it's going to be some repair. And I'm not saying that to like scare you off. Like, don't get scared. I'm not trying to scare nobody off. Like, you can just simply get one of the care, warranty things where Samsung Care, or any type of like offering of warranty on those. Don't get scared off by it. I'm just saying that it's like a durability thing. I'm trying to drive my point home that these slab styles are easier to repair, because you could actually find some local shops that could probably repair these as long as they're using OEM. Watch out for that, because they'll use some cheap parts and then mess up the phone. So make sure they're using OEM parts. And with Apple, you could just go to the Genius Bar, drop off your phone, have it picked up a couple days later, and you'll be all set to go. So definitely lower repair costs, I would say, on the slab phones, make them better options. The next one is better battery life all day, every day. And that just makes sense. If you do have a phone that has a dual screen setup, you're going to be using more juice, especially when you're on that inner display. Now, when you're out here on these main displays, I find on these foldable phones that they last pretty darn long. Not too far off regular flagships. But when you start getting in here and you start blasting the brightness and playing with your toy, I call it a toy right there, because while they're not toys, it feels so much fun, like a toy. When you first try foldables, you got to try one. They're just so fun to use at first. But definitely, they don't tend to hold up as long in the battery life. So I think of it more like this is the better tool. This is the better tool for just that daily reliability on battery life. Although these phones are definitely more boring to use than these over here, these are the better battery life tools for sure. At number 9 is going to be the better thermal efficiency. When you're playing a game or whatever, you're probably going to have better sustained performance on these standard slab phones versus these foldable phones. However, they are improving drastically, and the performance is amazing on some of these foldable flagships now. So, I mean, it's, unless you're doing something really heavy, it's probably not a big issue. But for serious gamers, you probably are going to want to go to an actual gaming phone over any of these. But I would state that the Samsung S25 Ultra seems to sustain top performance all the time. And my Z series phones don't quite feel as fast, but we'll have to see if that changes in my speed tests with the Z Fold 7, Z Flip 7. Number 10, and this one really irks me a bit as someone who has reviews a lot of phones, and I cycle through them. It might not irk you too much if you keep your phone a long time, but you get less loss when you trade in. If you like to upgrade, you're a tech fan, you love upgrading, which a lot of you do. You lose more money on these phones straight up. Like, for example, this I bought last year. This is the Z Fold 6. I love this phone. I made a video about this phone. S Pen support, nice small screen on the front for easy one-hand use, really durable, nice inner display, great device. I paid nearly $2,000 for that phone. That phone is now giving me $1,000 back. So I've lost nearly 50% in just 1 year. That is substantial. And that's only because I'm trading it at Samsung. If I was to sell this phone on the private, I don't know that I would get more than that easily. That's another thing. These aren't going to sell as fast as these phones. If you place these for sale private, they're going to sell really quick. Although there is a lot of companies that will just buy your phones off you, but they'll give you a reduced price so they could profit off making a higher price. Of course, that's just the way business works. Everybody's got to get their piece. But at the end of the day, these lose more. You pay more and you lose more. These also lose, but it seems a little bit slower. Like a 16 Pro Max, I could sell this phone right now. I just bought it last year. Granted, I got a couple scratches on it, but I could sell this phone. It was like $1,200 or something like that. I could probably sell this for like $900 or $1,000. I only lost like maybe $400 or $300 in about 1 year. It's been 9 months or so, maybe 10 months now. But definitely, I haven't lost nearly as much as I did on the Z Fold or even the Open over there. Well, the Open OnePlus sent to me, but if I was to pay the full price, I would have lost more on there. Now, the final verdict is, and the same goes for the Samsung. This one I could sell for quite a bit and didn't lose that much, although this one's only 6 months or so old, maybe like 7 months. The final verdict is these are just the gold standard of phones. And what happens is every year I try out the foldables and I'm like, I'm back to these just because they're simple, they're durable, they have longer lasting battery, and they have super large screens that make them feel like little mini tablets. They call them phablets. They used to call them that. I don't think people say that much anymore. But these are still the king. If you want the multitasking, I would say that is the biggest thing with these, multitasking. It seems like when you're thinking about buying a foldable that the video experience is going to be top notch, and it is, and having the split side by side is really good. But you really tend to shine more when you want to see a bigger web page. And the foldable is more enjoyable with the screen space for a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I feel like these are still like the better option for most people than any foldable phone, and I'm talking about even flip ones. A lot of the same things that I said in this video apply to those as well. So that's going to wrap it up here for me. And again, this was not an aim at any particular phone. I'm just talking about these right now because I'm interested in the foldable phones that are just launched, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Google brings with the Pixel Fold as well. So stay tuned for the and this video wasn't aimed specifically at any foldable. I just used the ones I have for examples. This was just to talk about why these two are the top dogs in the market still. But I will give you my Z Fold and Flip 7 content coming soon. I ordered the phones by myself, own money, so I gotta wait for them just like anybody else. So stay tuned for that. Can't wait to cover those for you, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great Sunday, and I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.